Hey there, Munchie Mafia. So this is our pre-live prep. I'm going to do some basic knife skills with you. This is an English cucumber. This is going to go into a quinoa tabbouleh that we're going to be making live later. So we're going to get our bowl. One of the important things is to understand the basics of knife safety. This is a round object. And sorry, the dogs are being a little weird tonight. So it's a round object. How do we cut that without cutting our finger? We're going to just make a little cut just like so that it sits flat. But first we're going to peel this because we just want to make sure that it doesn't have a tough exterior. So you can use just a regular peeler if you want, or you can just do what I'm doing. And what you do is just kind of just peel around. I'm too lazy to go and get the peeler, so. And we just want to just get the skin off there. Here we go. Okay, so here we have a cucumber and it's got seeds in the middle. And the way to get around that core is to just go slice, slice, oops, I missed, slice, and slice. Okay, so now that's garbage. Now if you have a juicer, you can take these pieces and you can put it through the juicer. Actually, we'll start with the rest of this real quick. So when you're using a knife, make sure that you roll your fingers like that so that the knife blade rests up against your knuckles. And that way, you're not going to cut a finger off. Unless you're doing something really stupid. You know what? This knife is a little dull. I think that one needs a little bit of love, so let's get the Wusthof out. Okay, so this is a fancy way of doing it. And of course there's always one little spot that needs to just get trimmed off. And again, we're going to flip it up like that. We're going to find where the seeds are. We might end up with a little bit of seeds, but for the most part, that's how you do that. You can also do something similar with apples if you wanted. To slice up some apples and stuff, you could just use that same technique where, you know, you set the apple down and you make 4 cuts. Makes life a little easier. That way when you're going to dice apples, you don't have a whole lot of stuff going on. This one's a little irregular, so I can't do that funky cut. I just showed off. This one is a Wusthof. It's just a standard chef's knife. The other one that needs to get a little bit of love is my Mercer. They're German steel knives, and you have to be careful when you go to buy Damascus. Everybody says, "Oh yeah, Damascus steel, Damascus." Well, the thing of it is that a lot of the ones that you see online for dirt cheap that says, "Oh yeah, they're Damascus," they really aren't. They're just stamped to look Damascus. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make what's known as little sticks, or batons, or bâtonnets. Bâtonnets are the smaller ones. We're doing a bâtonnet. These are smaller. So this is one way that you start to do dices. The size of your matchsticks that you're cutting will determine how big or how little your dices are going to be. Now, the purpose behind having at least reasonably uniform knife cuts is so that your dish presents pretty, but also, especially if you're cooking, you want all of your ingredients to be roughly the same size so that they will cook consistently. So see that? Nice little matchsticks. And they're reasonably uniform in size. We only have a few vegetables to cut, so this is going to be featured on the live stream later on. We're also going to be making a green goddess salad dressing, as well as cooking quinoa, and we're going to chill it down so that we can make it into a nice salad. And then we're going to, while that's doing its thing, we're going to pan sear up some sockeye salmon. Alright, there we go. Now, these are ready-to-eat foods, that's why I'm wearing gloves. Plus, I don't like my fingers smelling funny. Okay, so now that we've got that, we're going to determine how small our dices are going to be. We're just going to lay out a small amount. And we're going to transfer it to the bowl. Just like so. You're also going to see how to properly cut herbs too, because we also have some herbs that we have to take care of. So there's that. See how nice and uniform that is? They're nice little dices. Quinoa is an ancient grain. It's gluten-free. Oops. So only take as much at a time as you feel confident, okay? Make room on your board. And my dishwasher is telling me that it's done. I don't know if you can hear that, but okay, so now we're going to just go in. We're going to dice this up. Just like so. Get a little more this time. So don't go chopping like that. Let your knife rock. And that way you're not possibly hitting yourself in the knuckle. And some of the pieces might go a little sideways on you. These things are a little slippery, so. Okay. They're all pretty much the same size. Some might be a little smaller, you know, when you're cutting something that's somewhat round into somewhat square. Sometimes they go a little weird, so it's okay because you're not working in a Michelin star restaurant or anything like that. You're just cooking for family. But when you show the extra attention to detail, your dishes start to look a lot prettier, and especially when you're having company over or you're having a party, sometimes you want to be able to wow your family members and friends by putting out something very pretty. Something that it's Instagram worthy, whatever the hell that means. Okay, so we're going to finish these up. And then we're going to go on to the bell pepper. Now, since all these vegetables are all going together, we're just going to plop them all in the same bowl. See, come back here. Get in there. Alright. Now we got our bell pepper. Now I like to go with very colorful, so going with very colorful. So with the bell pepper, you want to just slice down, and that way you can see on the inside. You can see where all these ribs are, and you just follow along with your knife. Roll, and if your knife snags, don't just force it, because you could end up with it in the palm of your hand. Okay, so that's that. Now we don't have a whole hell of a lot to do with that, short of, you know, breaking it up into pieces that it's going to be easier to manage. We don't have any, and we have one seed. We have one seed. Okay, so we don't want that white part. That white part there is icky. We're just going to slice that off. We're going to trim that up. Cindy has learned to bark, by the way. Alright, so when it comes to bell peppers, they are slippery on the outside. You don't ever want to cut from here. You always want to flip it upside down. I learned this as a new prep cook when I was in my teen years, to always flip it that way. The reason why is because your knife blade can slide around and possibly cut yourself with it, with the knife. So now we're going to go and do our little matchsticks here, just like that. Scoot those over. Start on the next one. And, you know, one of the things about making sure that your fingers are curled, just like that. It's kind of hard to see with a glove. Anyway, see how my fingers are curled and where the knife rests. Should do this right-handed. So, okay, like so. In this way, you're not possibly cutting your finger off or ruining your day. Nobody likes to, you know, go to cook something and then end up in the emergency room because you need stitches. Thankfully, because if you're bleeding all over the place, they will check you in right away. They don't usually let you bleed to death all over the emergency room floor, as I learned. They rush you back quickly. Alright. You might stabilize it and then make you sit for a while, but you'll be in an exam room while you're bleeding all over the place. Usually with your hand in a bucket full of stuff to sterilize it. Okay, so now take as many as you feel confident, and we're just going to go and make some little small dice, just like so. Now, the tabbouleh is actually a chilled product. It's very, very delicious. Got a beautiful rosé sweet vinegar that I found. I usually use champagne vinegar, but I saw that, I'm like, you know what? That looks fascinating. Let's give it a try. I've never seen that one before on the store shelves. Plus it was like $4 cheaper. So, you know, doing YouTube cooking can be really expensive. Seems like I'm constantly at the store. But, you know, I work 4 days a week, and one day is I just sit around at home and do nothing. It's my do nothing sort of day. And then we get on with it with a live on a Sunday and a Monday. And we just recently started doing Pearl parties. They're not affiliated with any of the MLMs. Not affiliated with anything. It's just for the fun of it. There's no sales. There's nothing. You can win a pearl. You don't even have to spend a dime. You're not having to buy jewelry. We're not selling jewelry. We're not doing any of that stuff, because let's be realistic here, you know. I already have enough stuff in my life that's going on that I just don't have time for that. I don't have time for selling cheap jewelry. Okay, so these ones are going to be a little rectangly. Is that even a word? I don't know. Anyway, so and I hope that you do stay for the live, because then you're going to be able to see the magic where all these ingredients are going. Right, Timmy?
Watch your clock.
Watch my clock. What time is it?
22.
20 till? Okay. Alright, so he's telling you it's 20 till. In about 20 minutes, we're going to be doing a live. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the onion. Onions are fairly easy, yet also a pain in the ass at the same time. So, cut that knob off. Cut the knob off. Peel it. Easiest way to peel it. Cut the knob off. You're cutting an onion from the top to bottom. So here's where the roots were. This is the top. And what I find is that just wasting that little amount is worth not having to stand around and peel papers off of onions for 10 minutes. So now we're going to swipe our knife. Alright, so an onion, what we're going to do is we're going to put cuts, but we're not going to go all the way to the back of the onion, okay? And we're going to gauge how small or how large these incisions are going to be. Wow, this onion is strong. Okay, so now we got these cuts. They only go to about there. Now we're going to take our knife and we're just going to gently saw through. Now I got a mess. Okay, so now just kind of grab it with your pinky and your thumb, but keep it rolled in so that you're not cutting through them. Be mindful where your knife blade is at all times. And now we got this beautiful, beautiful fine mince on our onion. Okay? That's pretty much all we really need right there. Okay, so now we got that. Now, we'll just scoop that into the bowl. We might have some off pieces that are just a little too large, but that's okay. Not that we're working in a restaurant. Although I have spent a great deal of my time working in restaurants. Now I work at a jail. I'm a jail chef. Actually, my actual title is food service director, or director of food services. I take care of all this stuff. Mostly the financial side stuff, and ordering, and training, and babysitting inmates that are in my kitchen. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're plucking mint. Because we don't want the stem in there. Oh, I just love the smell of mint. I love the flavor of mint. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so there we go. There we have it. It's all cleaned up. Oh my god, these things are strong. Alright. Now what we do is we try to line them all up in a pretty little row. And we're going to get our little cup here. And we're going to try to roll them up as best as we possibly can. Which, we're going to get rid of that extra stem. Now we're just going to go and we're going to do this cut, which is known as chiffonade. And then we just go along and we just choppy, choppy, choppy. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Choppy, choppy, choppy. And some people seem to be a little intimidated by quinoa. That's why we chose it today. Alright, so there we have that. Now we're gonna get our green onion. We want all sorts of stuff. You can also put other things in there. You can also put roasted zucchini in there if you want. So we're gonna also use the whites. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, no. I'm sorry, wrong dish. We're not gonna use those. Alright, that's for later. Okay, so that concludes all that. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for our live. Thank you much, and have a great day.